Everyone talks about waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, but the ancient texts mention a fourth state called Turiya. It's not a state you enter, it's the background of all states. And what we're going to break down today is exactly what shifting into the Turiya perspective feels like, both biologically and mentally, without the vague spiritual jargon. Let's start with what we think we know about consciousness. You're awake right now, watching this. Tonight you'll dream, and somewhere between those dreams, you'll slip into deep, dreamless sleep. 3 states. That's the model most of us operate with. But roughly 27 centuries ago, a verse appeared in the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, referencing something it simply called the fourth, not a fourth state stacked on top of the other 3, something far stranger. The awareness in which all 3 states appear. This concept received its most concentrated treatment in what might be the most powerful philosophical text ever written per word. The Mandukya Upaniṣad, 12 verses. That's it. 12 verses belonging to the Atharva Veda, and according to the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, mastering this single text is sufficient for complete liberation. The name Mandukya itself translates to like a frog, because its philosophy hops abruptly between 4 quarters of consciousness the way a frog leaps between the corners of a room. And the 4th quarter it lands on is Turiya. So what is Turiya precisely? In the tradition of Advaita Vedanta, Turiya is not an experience. It's what you are. Ramana Maharshi, the Indian sage who lived from 1879 to 1950, put it this way: there are 3 states only: the waking, dream, and sleep. Turiya is not a 4th one. It is what underlies these 3. It is not apart from anything, for it forms the substratum of all happenings. It is the only truth. It is your very being. Read that carefully. He's not describing a mystical state you achieve after decades of practice. He's describing something that's already present right now underneath your experience of watching this video. The difficulty is that Turiya penetrates the other 3 states so completely that isolating it feels impossible. It's like asking a fish to notice water. The Mandukya Upaniṣad approaches this problem through the sacred syllable Om, or Aum. The sound A corresponds to waking consciousness, U corresponds to dreaming, and M corresponds to deep sleep. And the silence that follows, that pause after the vibration fades, that is Turiya. The silence was always there. The sound arose within it and dissolved back into it. And the silence didn't go anywhere. This is one of the core insights of Advaita Vedanta. The 7th verse of the Mandukya defines Turiya entirely through negation, using the ancient method called Neti, meaning not this, not this. Turiya is not conscious of the internal world, nor the external world, nor both. It's unseen, incomprehensible, unthinkable. It's pure consciousness itself, tranquil, auspicious, and non-dual. Gaudapada, the great 8th century philosopher who wrote the first major commentary on this text, explained that Turiya sits beyond cause and effect. The phenomenal world is an appearance produced by Maya, by illusion, while Turiya is the non-dual reality in which all distinctions between subject and object cease to exist. His student, Adi Shankara, consolidated these teachings into the philosophical system we now call Advaita Vedanta, and he declared that the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad alone, properly understood, is sufficient for liberation. Shankara wrote, "I am other than name, form, and action. My nature is ever free. I am self, the supreme unconditioned Brahman. I am pure awareness, always non-dual." Now, here's where things get genuinely fascinating. Modern neuroscience is beginning to map what these ancient philosophers described. When researchers put experienced meditators into EEG machines and fMRI scanners, something unusual shows up. Their brainwave patterns don't fit neatly into the categories we normally see. In ordinary waking life, your brain produces alpha and beta waves. In deep sleep, delta waves dominate. In dreaming, you see theta activity. But in advanced meditators approaching what the texts call Turiya, the entire spectrum activates simultaneously. Delta waves, normally exclusive to deep sleep, appear alongside full waking awareness. Gamma oscillations, the highest frequency brain waves ever recorded, spike dramatically. In experienced yogis, gamma activity runs significantly greater in amplitude than in any control group. The brain is somehow asleep and hyper-awake at the same time. A 2025 study on Sudarshan Kriya Yoga used EEG to track how breath-based meditation influences brain activity. The researchers found that the practice gradually increased theta and delta waves while reducing alpha activity, producing a state they explicitly described as matching what traditional meditation texts call Turiya, a deeply relaxed yet fully aware condition. Perhaps most revealing is what happens to the default mode network, the DMN. This is the brain system responsible for self-referential thinking, mind-wandering, mental time travel, and maintaining your sense of being a separate self. When Judson Brewer and colleagues studied advanced meditators, they found dramatically decreased connectivity within the DMN. And the striking parallel is this. Studies on psilocybin show that the psychoactive compound causes up to a 20% decrease in cerebral blood flow to the posterior cingulate cortex, a key DMN hub, and that reduction directly correlates with subjective reports of ego dissolution. The meditators arrive at a similar place through practice rather than pharmacology. The narrative self, what Indian philosophy calls the ahamkara or ego maker, quiets down. And what remains is not emptiness. It's what was always there beneath the noise. Travis's phenomenological study in the year 2000 asked 52 meditators to describe their experience of pure consciousness. 68% reported the absence of time, space, and body sense. They weren't unconscious. They were, by their own descriptions, more awake than they had ever been. Researchers have since identified a 12-factor phenomenological model for this experience, including factors named wakeful presence, luminosity, emptiness, non-egoic self-awareness, and witness consciousness. There's a beautiful metaphor that captures all of this. To realize Turiya is to understand that you are the screen on which the movies of life are projected. The movie may show fire or water, but the screen itself is never burned or wet. You are not the content of your experience. You are the awareness in which all content appears. Gaudapada's most radical teaching is that Turiya is not a goal to reach. It's the only reality. The three states are superimposed on it like waves on the ocean, and the wave is not separate from the ocean. The ocean is not disturbed by the wave. You are the ocean. And beyond even this, the texts describe something called Turiyatita, literally beyond the fourth, where the witness dissolves into everything witnessed, leaving only seamless non-dual unity. Not just during meditation, but continuously, through every waking moment. Ramana Maharshi understood this at age 16, when he spontaneously experienced what he described as a vision of death. Every sense went numb, but self-awareness remained completely evident. He realized that awareness was what he truly was, not the body, not the mind. That awareness, he said, never decays. It's unrelated to anything. It's self-luminous. Even if the body is burned, it remains untouched. 2,700 years of philosophy, 12 verses in the shortest Upanishad, 52 subjects in a modern lab, gamma waves spiking on an EEG, and they're all pointing at the same thing, not a state you enter, the ground you never left.